Okay, so yeah, I got 9 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started. So, my name is Justin Daniel, and I supervise the food safety program here at the Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department. I've been with the health department now for about 25 and a half years, and always farmers markets are an important and integral part of our program and how they are a positive influence in the community. Um, so thank you for everyone who's joining us this Saturday morning. It's hard to believe that it's almost another farmers market season, but I have to say on a personal note, I am super glad that winter is almost to an end and better weather is upon us here in the near future. So with me, I have a senior environmental health specialist, Brian Hurst. To assist in talking about our health department inspections and also to help answer questions that vendors may have. But I got Brian here. He'll wave to the crowd there. But then also I have Matt Husk, environmental health specialist too, and he's co-hosting the meeting here to help answer with any or help me hopefully with any technical challenges that hopefully don't come up anyway. So there's been a lot of changes, significant changes in the laws as they pertain to home bakers due to last year's legislative session, LB 262 passed, or so as they pertain to home bakers. So this Zoom meeting is to hopefully help explain the requirements and answer your questions. We have a full agenda with a lot of great speakers and good presentations, and also market managers to talk about their markets. So we got a lot of valuable information to get the season off on a positive start. So I'm excited to introduce our first speaker. Balin Whitehead is a cottage food program specialist with the Nebraska Department of Agriculture. And I've leaned on Balin several times already this year to help with interpretation with the new home baker laws, cottage food laws. And Balin, I thank you for being willing to present. And if you're ready, Balin, I will turn it over to you.
All right. Let me start sharing my screen. Oops. There we go. Okay. Good
Yeah,
morning,
yeah,
everyone.
we can see that.
Okay, perfect. My name is Balin Whitehead. Oh, sorry. Is this in the way? Okay. My name is Balin Whitehead. I'm the Cottage Food Program Specialist for Nebraska Department of Agriculture. I'm here for the cottage food update for the farmers market season. I'm going to try to keep this a little bit short and sweet because I know there's going to be a lot of questions. So Justin, let me know, cut me off when it's time. All right. So, with the recent law change, cottage food producers can now sell certain TCS foods. TCS refers to food that requires time and temperature control for safety. Some examples of these include cheesecake, cut fruit and vegetables, cooked egg dishes, cookies and cakes with buttercream, ice cream, pudding, cheese, and butter. I know the cheesecake and the buttercream are two things that people were really excited about. So that's something I get questions about all the time. So yes, you can sell cheesecake now, which is super exciting. So the cottage food law applies to a private home where food is prepared for sale directly to the consumer, including but not limited to at a farmer's market, fair, festival, craft show, or other public event, or for pickup or delivery from such private home. The producer must meet requirements of the Nebraska Pure Food Act, and you will want to register on our website, which I have linked. The requirements for cottage food producers, you'll want to take a food safety training course prior to registration. There's not a specific course that you need to take, but it needs to be accredited. There's also a cottage food law training course that UNL Extension offers. So that's people find that one helpful as well. Well water testing is required if you're using a private well, so you want to test for nitrate and bacteria. And on our cottage food page on our website, we have a link to a lab that can test your water, and it's not the only option, but it is an option for you. You must include the notification required by Nebraska Pure Food Act. It must be visible to consumers, stating that the food was prepared in a kitchen that is not subject to regulation and inspection by a regulatory authority, and it may contain allergens. So those two pieces must be fulfilled in your notification. So on your label, all labels must include the product identity, quantity, and producer name and location. So that's for all cottage food labels, regardless if you're registered or not, and regardless if it's TCS or not. The TCS food labels must include the ingredients in descending order of predominance. And that means that the ingredient that weighs the most is listed first, and the ingredient that weighs the least is listed last. So here we have an example. The item is lemon bars. There are 6 bars in this package. It comes from Aggie's Bakery, and they are located at 123 Farm Street. This is an item that would require refrigeration, so it has the ingredients on there, and the notification is on the label. The notification is not required to be on the label, it just has to be visible to consumers. During transport and sale of TCS food, you need to keep your cold food below 41 degrees Fahrenheit and your hot food above 135 degrees Fahrenheit. Failure to control the temperature of your TCS products may result in adulteration because bacteria multiply rapidly in the temperature danger zone that's between these temperatures. So if you're going to an event that is, say, 7 hours long, and you're taking breakfast, like egg breakfast burritos, you must have a way to keep those above 135 degrees because that is too long of an event for them to not be temperature controlled. So that is something to keep in mind. Definitely keeping your TCS foods out of the temperature danger zone. And that's something that you will also learn more about in those food safety training courses. So cottage food cannot be these TCS foods. Any part of an animal or animal byproduct. This refers to meat, lard, tallow, bone broth, bone meal, etc. So any type of meat in your product should not be present in your cottage food. Sorry, my dog was doing something. Cottage food cannot be fluid milk or milk products as defined in the Grade A12 Pasteurized Milk Ordinance. That refers to milk, cream, sour cream, and yogurt. So that kind of confuses people a little bit. It doesn't mean that your food can't contain these ingredients. It just means that you can't just start selling milk as your cottage food business. So you can contain milk in your products. It just must be from an approved source, like a grocery store. And raw milk may not be sold in cottage foods. Then we have the rest of this list of items that cannot be cottage foods. There's tofu, tempeh, or similar meat substitutes, kimchi, kombucha, or similar fermented foods, sprouts, unpasteurized juice, infused oils and infused honey, and raw eggs. If you want to sell raw whole eggs, you can still contact NDA to receive your egg number to sell those eggs. It just wouldn't be a cottage food item. Cottage food cannot be hermetically sealed, low acid, and acidified canned food. This refers to jarred pickles, salsa, barbecue sauce, corn, green beans, mushrooms, etc. Those items require a food permit and a HACCP plan to produce because that is a specialized process. There is a little bit more intricacies to the process of those foods that need to be controlled. For jams, jellies, and preserves, acidic fruits with a pH of 4.6 or below may be preserved under cottage food law. Some examples of that would be blueberries, cherries, peaches, raspberries, and any traditional jams and jellies made with pectin is okay. But you want to always use a tested recipe. And I have the USDA Complete Guide to Home Canning down here for the fruit and fruit products. This has some good recipes in it and some food safety advice as well. So some frequently asked questions are, my friend owns a coffee shop and really wants to sell my cottage food items. Can she sell them? No, because cottage food must be sold directly to the consumer. So a wholesale permit would be required for that activity. Next, we have a snow cone cottage food business out of a mobile trailer. Can we still operate? That would also require a permit because if products are not pre-made in a private home, you cannot operate under the cottage food exemption. I will only be selling bread and cookies at the farmer's market. Do I need to register? What training is required? So the registration and training are not required for selling non-TCS foods directly to the consumer at the farmer's market. So if you're just going to the farmer's market and you're just selling things like bread, cookies, things that do not require refrigeration, the registration and training are not required, but the consumer notification and general labeling requirements do still apply. And we do recommend food safety training every 3 years anyway, but like I said, not required. All right, so I have some contact information up here and I will open it up for questions.
Balin, I saw a question in the chat on water well testing.
Mm-hmm.
Is there it doesn't specifically say in the law of a frequency for testing for those on private wells. Is there a rule of thumb that you like to go by?
A rule of thumb would be yearly,
Okay.
but for registration, it's just before you register is the required testing.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, I got a question if this training is considered an approved training, and it is not. We are being consistent with the law, and so this workshop is for informational purposes only to help answer questions for home bakers, farmers market vendors, and cottage food operators.
Correct.
So.
And we do have a few examples on our website of training courses that you can take, but a rule of thumb is any accredited food safety training course.
Another question, does this apply, from Margaret, does that apply to craft shows also?
Does what apply to craft shows?
I'm gonna guess like the registration or the training, but
Oh,
or or,
um,
or the exemption for farmers markets only.
oh, that's an interesting question. I would have to look into it, I guess. I'm not sure if there's a distinction between craft shows and farmers markets, but the registration is super easy. You just put in your information and the date that you took your training. But if you'd like to reach out to me with that question, I can certainly get back to you about it.
Balin, another
Craft show here.
yeah, another question I had was one of the chats, if you could share the slides Will that be something
Yeah.
you'll be able to dump into the comments when you're done or the
Oh,
chat?
yeah,
Yeah.
I can see what I can figure out after I'm done presenting.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said, if you want to email me, I'd be happy to share them that way as well.
Okay. I got a question. If a person has registered in a previous year, do they need to re-register?
No, you don't have to re-register.
Okay. And then a question from Dana. Is it better to have the home cottage warning on labels if we have a web page for ordering or just on the website?
Um, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to do both. It would be my opinion, but ultimately is up to you.
Yeah. And that was one question I had leading up to this was about the warning label that informs the public. Was this or that this food was prepared in a kitchen that's not subject to regulation inspection by a regulatory authority? A question I had specifically for farmers markets was, does that mean each vendor has to have like a consumer notification at each table, or can the farmers market have a consumer notification at the market itself? And
I would say that each vendor should have their own notification. Because when you're at a farmer's market, some places are permitted and like food trucks or something like that, and some places are not. So I think it
and
should be yeah.
yeah, and the language does say, the notification shall be provided at the sale location. So
Hmm.
I think we've talked we've interpreted that ourselves as at each vendor's table. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Got a question from Nancy Baker. Please explain the wholesale option process.
That is a little bit more detailed, but for wholesaling, I guess it depends on the product you're wanting to sell. Um, Most likely would need to be made out of a commercial kitchen that meets the requirements of manufactured and manufacturing and processing requirements. And you would just need to contact your local inspector at NDA for an inspection. On our website, we have a fillable PDF form that's called Request for Permit. So once you have all your business details ready to go, you will fill those out and submit them to us, and we will have an inspector reach out to you and get that process started.
Got another question from Michelle Pulford. As a home baker, can I sell cookies that are non-time temperature control wholesale to coffee shops?
No, that would require a permit.
Yeah, and Michelle, just for your awareness, the intent of this law is for direct sales to the customer. So if you're
Yes.
wholesaling, you're no longer directly selling it to the customer. So you would
Yeah,
need a
exactly.
permit and be a processor.
Mhm.
Or make, I guess I don't think.
Okay, question from Aaron Young. Does a post office box count as a location on a label?
A PO box would be fine. It just has to be where you can be reached via mail.
Okay. I think we've answered Margaret's question. Can we post the warning label at our stall instead of on each label?
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah, okay. Okay. All right, I'm just scrolling through. And then Caitlin Andrews, who is the oversees is the supervisor for dairies and foods with Nebraska Department of Agriculture. Caitlin, thanks for being on. But she said, if you have general food safety questions, you can email it. And she posted the Department of Agriculture's general food safety website in the chat also.
Oh, perfect.
So, yeah, are there any other questions that someone did not get in the chat, or do they wish to ask Balin? Now's your chance.
Yeah, I actually do have a question.
Go ahead, City.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do have a coffee. We do coffee over there, and all of our product is pre-packed and everything from our facility in Hastings, which is licensed and everything. And we also do sell the coffee in a cup, but just like that, we put milk and flavors in it. But we made a coffee here in the Hastings and just bring it in the his Lincoln. And when customers purchase it, then we just add milk and the coffees and flavor and give it to them. So I got told last year I need a different permitting for that as well. So I just don't know a specific permit that I need for that.
Okay, so you are currently just under cottage food, or do you have
Uh,
a permit?
yeah, I have a permit.
If you want to shoot me an email with the details and maybe some details about your permit, I can try to look into what's going on and help you
Okay.
directly.
Yeah. And that email will be here on the chat.
Yep, the balin.whitehead
Bell and
at
that. Okay.
nebraska.gov.
All right. I will do that. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Man, who's holding them up?
Justin,
Yes.
Linda Hupke here.
Hi, Linda.
Yeah, so if a person was to get their permit through you guys at the health department, does that mean like a food manager level?
Well, that would, I mean, that would be a suitable training if, I mean, what permit are you asking about? Are you talking about the training?
For the, if I wanted to make cream cheese pie.
Cream cheese pie out of your home?
Yep.
So, if I'm understanding right, if I'm only, well, if I'm doing cream cheese pie, so since that's a non-TCS food,
That's TCS.
I'm sorry. It's cream cheese pie, since that is a TCS foods, it needs refrigeration or it needs hot holding. Um, they would need a required training as outlined in LB 262. And to answer your question, yes, a food handler permit from our department is identified as an approved training. Does that help answer your question? You're on mute, I'm sorry.
I'm back, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question would be prep cook, restricted.
It just says a it just says a food handler permit. So in the past, we've accepted any level of training, Linda.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Like I said, that's specific to the time temperature control foods.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Okay. So that may have triggered a few other questions. Do we still get a placard from this event? I was planning on covering that a little later. Since the law requires the home bakers to already put that language that the food was prepared in a kitchen that's not subject to regulation, Lincoln Lancaster County will not be issuing placards to the individual vendors this year. The law requires the vendor to label their product themselves. It would be duplicative for a placard. Okay. Got a question from Julie. If I took the cottage food training through UNL, do I also need a food handler class?
Nope, the cottage food training is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, we have accepted the cottage food training offered by Nebraska Extension as an approved training. So a question from Jerry and Holly. Okay, or do we have to take another training for food handler for the placard? Like I said, we're not gonna issue placards, but the requirements for training is if you're gonna do time temperature control for safety foods. As Balin mentioned, if you're not doing the time temperature control for safety foods directly to the customer at a farmer's market, the training is not required. It's best practice. We can recommend it, but that's not something that we would require or can require. Okay. Question from Courtney. How often do you need to do the food safety training? So the permits issued by Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department are good for 2 years. They're $10 a year or $20 for the permit. So that's 2 years. As far as other trainings, it would just be valid as long as whatever the expiration training is on that, So some trainings have different expiration times. So as long as we can see you've taken a certified food safety training and that certification or that permit is still showing that it's valid, my staff would honor that. And I don't know Balin, how you interpret that.
Yeah. The one-time training is required for registration, but we recommend at least every 3 years retaking food safety training.
Okay. All right. Does the state food handler cover Lincoln, or do I need to take a Lincoln Lancaster food handler permit? So, for the purposes of LB 262 or the cottage food, or for home vendors, the state food handler, we would honor that for the purposes of the LB 262. Like I said, the law has preemption in it, so we cannot have additional requirements. So if the law, as long as the state accepts a state food handler, which I believe they do, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yes.
state food handler would be an approved training.
Yes.
Okay. Will everyone at the booth be required to have a food handler permit?
So if you have multiple people who are selling your cottage food product, you want each person to be registered themselves. So yes, each person would have to take the food safety training.
If they're providing TCS foods.
Yes.
Yeah,
Can I ask a follow-up question to that?
please.
So, like, my husband often will work the booth for me instead of me. So if I prepare, because I sell collages, if I prepare them, and I'm certified, does he also need to be certified if he's the one selling at the booth?
Yes. And that's because of that verbiage that requires it to go from the producer directly to the consumer. So if your husband is a producer of your business, then that would be fulfilling those requirements.
Okay, thank you.
All right. That's some great questions. And I was wondering that myself. Kolaches, I think it was mentioned selling kolaches. So
Yeah, the cream cheese ones, I would say are TCS, unless they are, a specific, a specific filling that is shelf stable or something like that. But yeah.
Most of the fillings I use are the
Okay.
cream cheese ones are it's very rare if I make those, and they are
Mm.
I usually refrigerate or keep them controlled.
Mm.
a lot of great questions, and I'm sure as the farmers market seasons get closer and closer, we'll continue to get questions. And I just want everyone to know, I'm sure Balin wants everyone to know that we are here to help answer questions as they come. And we may not know all the answers right off the bat, but we will work together and we will reach out to whoever we need to reach out to get answers back to you. So we want, like I said, we want markets to be a safe event for the public, but we want them to be enjoyable and great events, but ultimately we want them to be safe. And so, people are still enjoying the markets. They're still having, producing their products, but, so we just want to get these questions out here and help the group out, because there are changes, and I'll be the first to admit it probably took me. I had to read things about 20 times before I kind of understood them, and so but please, as they come up, reach out to me, reach out to Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department, reach out to Balin with Nebraska Department of Agriculture. So I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat. But if any come up, reach out to us, and if not, we'll move on to the next component of the agenda.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much this morning, Balin, for helping out. And if you could work on dropping your slides into the chat,
Yes, absolutely.
so participants can hopefully copy them and utilize them.
Yes, I will do that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You bet. All right. So the next on the agenda, we're a little bit ahead of time, which is never a bad thing. Is just how's this going to look? Entitled on the agenda is Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department Farmers Market Requirements. So you're probably asking yourself, how is this going to look? I'm a vendor in Lincoln. So what's this going to be different? So primarily, the biggest change that we're having here now that you're used to, and I've seen several questions related to the placard. So as the law states that each vendor needs to now says the producer shall inform the consumer by clearly visible notification that the food was prepared in a kitchen that is not subject to regulation and inspection by a regulatory authority and may contain allergens. So that's in the law. That's essentially what the purpose of our placard was before this law come into effect. So we are sticking with what's in the Nebraska Pure Food Act, and Lincoln Lancaster County will not be issuing placards this year. So that's probably the biggest change we've had to wrap our heads around, even here at the health department. But that being said, my staff will still, we still will be at the markets. We still will be conducting inspections to follow up with vendors to make sure they are following the rules of the Nebraska Pure Food Act. And if there are things that are out of compliance, we look at every inspection, every contact as a educational moment. And, so we want to work with vendors to help them best come into compliance and what's the simplest solution for that. So everyone's following the requirements. And then also, as I said before, you'll probably hear it again. We want the markets to be safe. We at the health department, we want to protect the public's health so people don't get sick from, whether it's products at a market or products at a commercial food establishment. So that's what that will look like. So we will be touching base with the market managers, let them know that we're doing inspections. And like I said, we're just, we'll be meeting with the home vendors, and a lot of markets, they also have, just people that are selling whole produce. They're selling flowers. We'll briefly touch base with them, but we'll focus most of our time on the home vendors. But there's also like different vendors, where what we call now itinerant food vendors, where they're actually preparing food on site. Those are not home vendors. They do not fall under this cottage food law, and they have a separate permit. So just to reiterate, the cottage food that Balin was talking about, that is for foods being prepared in the home. So if you're gonna prepare food on site, that is the requirement for. We require a different type of permit. Now, about a month ago, I had just kind of a meeting with the market managers for information, what would be good topics. And a question come up on samples. A lot of vendors want to provide sampling of their products, and we're totally fine with that. But we want samples to be distributed and prepared in a safe manner. So this is where I lean on my expert, Brian Hurst, senior environmental health specialist, who is kind of the lead on farmers markets. So if you want to do samples, I'm going to turn it over to Brian, and he will talk about the requirements, how to sample food or provide samples in a safe way to the public. So I'll turn my computer a little bit.
Hello again. Like Justin said, I'm Brian Hurst. I've been the lead for farmers markets for a few years. The law has changed a little bit, but one thing that sort of stayed the same is the requirement for hand washing when you're preparing foods on site. And those that want to prepare their samples at their booth, you'll have to have a hand wash set up. And I'll just briefly show you what that entails. You need some kind of a container that will hold water, at least 3 gallons. These old conference coffee pot things work really good. I don't know if you can see that. You can get them at the used or at the like a Goodwill or any kind of secondhand store. They work really nice. A water camping container, the clear kind work good. The most important thing though is, holding at least 3 gallons of water, and then a valve that will stay open when you open the valve. So you can have the water running without holding a button in. That's the key for the container you want to use. Okay, and the water temperature, we just make it a room temperature water. Not too hot or you won't wash your hands. If you use one of these old coffee pots, don't plug it in when you're at your booth. Just room temperature water is fine. You'll need a catch bucket to catch the water and the soapy residues from washing your hands. So you'll need to put it like a bucket, at least hold enough water that your container holds to catch the water so it doesn't go on the ground. Don't use the same bucket for your trash bucket either. We see that a lot when we're inspecting the booths with people throwing their trash in their water bucket. So make sure you have a separate trash container for your paper towels. And the best kind of paper towels you have at your booth are these box towels. Okay. We like these because the wind won't blow it on the ground like if you just put up a roll of paper towels on your table. So if you can, get these box towels. They work really great for a hand wash setup at your booth. And then you don't want to forget a liquid pump hand soap for hand washing. So those things are the main components you need for a hand wash setup. Now, some of you are asking, well, what if I bring my samples to the market that are already packaged in closed containers? Well, that's fine. You don't need a hand washing setup just to set out some closed containers with your samples in them. But if you want to set up a cutting board and have a knife and you're going to cut up samples on site, you're going to have a hand wash station. We still want you to put them in containers though at your booth. It will not get contaminated by the public.
Portion cup.
Like a portion cup or something like that. Just not in a big bowl where people stick their hands in it. And again, like if you bring a cutting board or knives or spatulas for your samples, you're going to want to have a sanitizer solution because, like the Haymarket Farmers Market runs 4 hours. You may drop so many utensils, you run out of clean utensils. So it's nice to have a sanitizer solution to wipe off a knife or a spatula. The easiest kind of sanitizer to make up would be one with plain bleach. Don't use thickened bleach or scented bleaches. And a general rule of thumb is about a teaspoon of bleach per gallon of water gets you at 100 parts per million chlorine, which is perfect for sanitizing utensils. You want to let those air dry again if you spray them off or dip them with a towel. Also, some people who sell frozen meats that have an itinerant permit, they will maybe cook some of their meat samples on site. Well, they will need a hand wash station if they're going to be preparing those meats on site, but they'll also need a stem probe thermometer. So there's digital thermometers, there's the dial thermometers you can buy. Okay. So if you're going to be cooking TCS foods at your booth for samples, you'll need to have a thermometer to make sure you're cooking those raw meats that are to the right temperature. And then if you're going to have coolers with TCS foods in them, those coolers need to have thermometers. You know, just something like this inside the cooler, so we know what the temperature is. We don't mind if you keep your coolers directly on the ground, you know, as long as they're protected from other chemicals and things like that. Are there any questions?
Not seeing any questions in the chat.
I just want to show this drink container. If you're going to be also having a drink at the site where you're preparing samples, we want you to have a container with a handle and a straw. That way you're not recontaminating your hands if you need to stop and take a drink. And I forgot to mention fly swatters. We encourage the use of fly swatters, but again, that's the importance of a sanitizer solution. So if you smash a fly on your table, you can wipe it up and wipe the fly swatter with a sanitizer solution. So, you know, it's a lot better to use a fly swatter than chemicals to kill insects. And then also, don't forget, we like to see hair restraints when you're preparing food on site or samples. So, these are all things that we look for when we do an inspection. I think that's all.
So yeah, thanks for that. And that was one of the questions that we got when when I met with the managers, and it's a common question that I get. Just calls on what are the requirements for samples. So we like as Brian went through, we just want to make sure those samples are held or prepared in a safe manner. So hand washing, hair restraints, thermometers are all things that we will look for, and ways that the person in charge of the booth can check their product and make sure it's safe once they're giving it out for samples. So with that, yeah, just like I said, I just wanted to talk about briefly. I've gotten a lot of questions about the placards, but so that'll be a change that we'll adjust to. And and as the markets start up, my staff will be out inspecting like they have in the past, so that's not going to change. We're just going to have the home baker or cottage food requirements that I think is that Caitlin put in the chat, so everybody can have, so we'll just make sure that those are being followed. So any last questions before we move on to the next section, which is the panel for our market managers to talk about their markets?
Justin, we have a couple that popped up in chat.
A couple popped up in chat. I am missing them. Okay. All right. So do I need to take a food safety handling course if I am selling prepackaged sauce and seasonings prepared by a co-packer but giving samples taste? Hmm, that was a good one, Heidi.
I don't think she does.
Yeah, I think as long if it's
Just
prepackaged,
samples.
if it's being made prepared by a commercial kitchen, if it's prepared in a co-packer, by giving samples, I unless yeah, I don't think so.
We've never required it in the
Yeah.
past.
Okay. Margaret, box towels such as at Menards, yes, they would be one place you could probably find those. Other large box type hardware stores or any hardware store, I'm sure you could find those, or a retail store. So David Berkey, all our products are non-time temperature baked goods except farm eggs. Do I need to take a food safety class? So if it's non-time temperature control for safety foods being sold directly to the customer at a farmer's market, the way the law is written, no. Now, if you want to sell those products out of your front door, then the answer would be yes. So it just depends on where you want to sell those, David. Okay. I see Balin put her slides into the chat so everybody can have. All right. Cool. All right, we're gonna move on to moving on down the agenda. This gives it's a panel of the farmers market managers, and this will give the market managers the opportunity to speak about their market. If you wish to be a vendor at their market, how you can contact them and start that process. So the first one on the agenda I have is the Haymarket Farmers Market, Linda Hupka and Jeff Cunningham. And Linda also provided me with some pictures that I'm supposed to share that I will pull up while they are talking.
Good morning. Am I coming across?
Yes, we hear you fine, Linda. Hopefully everyone can see my slide or the slides on my screen.
Well, excellent. If you're in the picture, thanks for being in the picture. Our market down in the Haymarket runs from May 3rd through October 11th. We run 8 a.m. to noon. As we go through the new opportunities with the cottage foods this year, I anticipate some of the vendors may be looking for additional electricity. And so we do have that available. Not all locations are we set up for this, and we want to learn about your needs so we can see what we can do to accommodate that. So do some figuring and put that information on your application that you turn into Jeff. And speaking of Jeff, I just want to clarify his role versus my role. He oversees all the vendor accounts, the schedule. He's the person taking in your payments and such. So there's a lot of questions to get directed at Linda. Then all I can do is send them to Jeff. I encourage you to call him. His phone number is posted in our materials, and then it's probably best to catch him on email, jeff@lincolnhaymarket.org. He might have some things to add to that in a little bit here. I want to emphasize this year that we're pushing safety, and we made some changes last year as far as no driving in the market after 7:30. And that might mean that you got to get up a little earlier so you can get down there, drive in, park, unload your stuff, and then go park your vehicle outside the market if you're a sidewalk vendor, and then come in and set up your stall. So we might shuffle our guidelines this year to put that higher on the list for safety reasons. No driving after 7:30. We understand that people have emergencies and problems that come up. And what I want you to do is give me a call, and I'll possibly even escort you through the market for safety reasons, and make sure the pedestrians down there are safe as you come through. Also want to emphasize, just like the training that we have, and everybody involved in the booth needs to understand policies, procedures on this. And often we find that, particularly for setting up, sometimes signage, sometimes our departure procedures aren't followed by the people you involve in your booths. So do go over those things in our materials and make sure that your people understand that come through. I think that's all I have. Jeff, do you have something that you want to say about this year's season. Number 39.
Hi, guys. I kept my head off there because I'm getting a glow on it. Like Linda said, I take care of the scheduling, policies, things like that. Always happy to take your questions or help you out wherever I can. I ask everyone to get your applications in by March 15th. One thing I will make sure you guys all know, checks are not usually cashed until mid-April. So if you don't see your check clear, then don't worry till April. Then I usually send out an email so everyone knows when they're going in. And I think that's about it. Oh, I'm echoing. God.
Little bit of echo, but we got through it. We could understand you fine, Jeff. So, okay. Well, thank you, Linda and Jeff. 39 years, if I heard that right, for the downtown farmers market. That's amazing. So
Did they give the time when it
congratulations.
starts and ends this year?
Oh yeah, yeah. Could one of you talk about the dates and the times of the market if
Sure. Yeah, we every year we start the first Saturday in May, and we go for 24 markets, and generally that's going to get us to the second one in October, and that lands on October 11th this year. The market starts at 8 a.m. and goes till noon. We blow the whistle to start it. We blow the whistle to stop it at noon, and then we let the vendors pack up their goods and blow the whistle twice around 12:10, 12:12 or so, and we let the vendors inside with their vehicles depart. And once we kind of get it cleared out, then we let the vendors that need to pull in for sidewalk stalls and such to load up. So we're really pushing safety, I guess you're hearing me harp on this year. And thanks for asking. And thanks for your help in putting this on.
My pleasure. Our pleasure. All right. Okay. If there's nothing more, I see Matt put Jeff's email into the chat if people want to reach out to Jeff for more information. Okay. The next farmers market, we got the Hub Farmers Market, and Carla McCullough is the manager for the Hub Farmers Market. And Carla, you're on mute. If you have some slides, feel free to share them.
Hi. Actually, I don't have slides, but I just grabbed a screenshot just to kind of paint the picture of our scene. So, Hub Farmers Market, this is our sixth season. I'm impressed by that 39, but we were pretty happy with six for a midweek market near downtown Lincoln. We started in 2020 as a pandemic CSA pickup location for 3 farmers, and we've grown to approximately 16 vendors, give or take, during the season. Some folks are just plants in the beginning, for example, and some folks have garlic in the end or whatever. But basically, we're a smaller market, but growing. We run every Wednesday in the months of May through September. So our first date is May 7th, and our last is September 24th. And we run from 5 to 7 in Union Plaza, and that picture shows the scene there. Oh, you know what? I did not send that to the whole group. I'll send that after I'm done talking. But basically, we have all of Union Plaza for the market itself. Hub Cafe started the market as the main sponsor. We have a few other sponsors now, but basically Hub Cafe serves food and drink on the outside patio adjoining to Union Plaza. And we have live local musicians. And so we're kind of unique in that way where we have it's a lot about the music, the market, and the food and drink at Hub Cafe. So I'm going to add my email for anybody to contact me. And are there any questions or any of my vendors on here? Am I leaving anything out?
Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
but I guess that's about it, Justin.
Okay.
Oh, what time does it start? Sorry. Yes, it goes from 5 to 7. So our setup starts at 4 for vendors, and we have until 8 o'clock to clear out. So it's just a 2-hour Wednesday market, 5 to 7.
Okay. All right.
Is she gonna put a picture up?
Did you have a picture
Yeah.
you wanted to put in the chat or
I will.
okay.
I'll do that right now.
We'll let you work on that while we move on to the Sunday Farmers Market at College View. And Margaret, you're up, and you sent me some slides, I believe, so I will get those pulled up also.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. Like Justin said, I too can't believe it's almost our 2025 market season in a couple months. So very excited. The Sunday Farmers Market at College View is really dedicated to providing access to high quality fresh food from our local family farmers and producers. I'm on the board and I'm a vendor there as well. We started in 2005 at Old Cheney Road. So we used to be called Old Cheney Road Farmers Market. And we moved to 48th and Prescott to the College View area in 2018. We became a 501c3 nonprofit in 2008, and we are celebrating our 20th year. Now that everybody's talking about celebrating years. So we are excited that we're at our 20th year. Last year, every week, we had about 45 to 50 vendors, depending on the week. And we really it's important to us that we really focus on the farmers and the farm processors. So they are at least 60% of the vendors that we have at the market. So, you're getting fresh quality produce and meat products at our market. We really want more farmers and farm processors from around Nebraska and Western Iowa. So, if you know of anybody or if you have not signed up for our market, please feel free to do so. Our community activities, no, that's fine. Each Sunday, we also focus on having community activities. So we really think of our market as a community, a place where the people in the community can come and meet people and have some food and just engage with our vendors and chat about the products. We usually have yoga from 10 to 11. Music from 11 to 1. And then we're focusing on kids activities throughout the year. So we have scavenger hunts and bingo cards, and we always do a trick or treat at the last market of the year at the end of October. We also are focusing on chef demos this year. So we plan to have one once a month. So we'll have 6 chef demos throughout this market year, and as well as special events like dance groups and things like that will come to the market. And this year, the board is really focusing on increasing promotional activities, really getting the word out to the Lincoln community and the surrounding areas that, hey, we're here, come on down on Sunday. We have a Facebook page, and we're also going to be working with radio and TV stations locally to get the word out about the market and about the great things that are happening there. Next slide. So for our 2025 market season, we are probably the longest running in the Lincoln area. We run from the last Sunday in April through the last Sunday in October. So we run this year, it's April 27th through October 26th. And then we also have 4 indoor holiday harvest farmers markets, and those will be November 9th and 23rd and December 7th and 21st. And those are at the Firefighters Reception Hall on 241 Victory Lane. That's a separate fee for that. So we have to pay for the rental of the hall. Our market times for all of the markets are 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., except for May 4th. Because we're in the Seventh-day Adventist parking lot, there's a graduation there at Union College on May 4th. And so our market is a late market from 3 to 6 p.m., but that's the only exception. Otherwise, we're there, rain or shine, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sundays. Please apply now if you're interested and if you either have been a vendor or haven't been a vendor. There's the link there, and I will also put that in the chat, as well as the email address for the Sunday Farmers Market Manager. Our initial deadline is March 7th, and at that time, we look at everybody that's applied and send out acceptance and invoices to everybody for the market. We do accept applications after that time, but really we give first priority those people that have gotten into get the application in by March 7th. So if we really want to make sure, and if our market's full, if our category is full, it's better for you to get your application in sooner rather than later. And we are excited to welcome our new market manager, Jennifer Morale, and she will be joining us for the 2025 season as well as in the future. And we are very excited to have her join us at the market, and you will hear more from her as the year progresses and as the market season progresses. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, or like I said, I'll post this link to become a vendor as well as the email address that you can email us. Thank you.
Margaret, I'm just double checking. Were you going to put Jennifer's contact in the chat also? Or?
The Sunday Farmers Market Manager email is the right one to contact her for that.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Next, going down my list, got the Fallbrook Farmers Market. I have Seth Durner as the market manager. Seth, are you on? Do I have? I'm looking for Seth in my list of participants. I'm not seeing Seth, but the Fallbrook Farmers Market is normally on Thursday evenings, I believe. So, and I've been emailing, and I believe their email is Fallbrook Farmers Market. I can't remember what the host is, but I'll find that and get that in the chat for you. Also, we have a new farmers market that we are been made aware of. It's Farmers Market Plus, and Bruce Schwenke was the manager. I don't think Bruce said he could be on, but I did. Bruce did send me like a flyer for his market. I'm going to put that on the screen here real quick. If I can pull that up. Give me a second. I'm going to try one more time here. Here we go. So this is a new one. Bruce reached out to Brian Hurst here about, it's called a Farmers Market Plus. And it looks like it's going from May 4th to October 12th, Sundays 10 to 3, out at 140th and O Street. So I can try to make this a little bigger to get the email on there. It's lasallegardens@yahoo.com is what I've used to reach out to Bruce. But so and there's also a phone number there if you wish to reach them by phone. So this is a new one, and sorry Bruce couldn't be on, but I promised I'd share his information to the group. And then lastly, the Bennett Farmers Market. I'm Larry Kramer, retired. Larry Kramer has been with the Bennett Farmers Market for a long time, but he's no longer going to be overseeing the Bennett Farmers Market. So I have a gentleman I've been speaking to was Levi Vetter, and he just wanted me to share his email. That is not his email. I'm sorry about that. That's the requirements in the code. So what I'll do is when the next speakers, I'll get Levi's email, and I'll also get Seth's email, and I will put those in the chat for everybody. So with that wraps up the farmers market the panel of farmers market managers to give them an opportunity to talk about their markets. So oh, someone put Bennett Farmers Market in there. So well, thank you. Okay. But with that, we gotta.
Did Carla want to show her slide?
She put it in the chat, if I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
It just, yep.
Yeah. So, I'm just seeing if there's any other questions here. I'm just scrolling down. When is the Bennett Market? I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to give you Levi's contact information so you can reach out when they're gonna host that. So I will work to get those emails in the chat here during the next presentation. So, but I'm excited to introduce Angeline Wang. She's with the Center for Rural Affairs. And she was going to talk about services offered by the Center for Rural Affairs. So I saw Angela was on earlier. There she is. I see her waving there. So I will take it away, Angeline.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes,
Yes, we
you're
can.
All right. And am I sharing the right screen?
It appears so, yes.
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. It doesn't show up all the way when I'm zooming. So good morning, everyone. My name's Angeline. I am in Omaha, and I know some of you because I have managed farmers markets here in Omaha for the past several years. And about 2 years ago, I started working at the Center for Rural Affairs. One of my projects that I work on is this really long named project, 2025 Rural Farmers Markets and Local Food Access in Nebraska and Iowa. So this is a project that is a continuation of the Rural Farmers Market Handbook, Manager's Handbook, which I'll show you a picture of at the very end. It sounds like most of you are in more of the non-rural parts of the state, but I think there's some interesting connections that rural farmers markets can make with some that are in larger cities. And I want to point out, I think Eastland's on this call too, so I won't take a ton of information ton of time to talk about Buy Fresh, Buy Local, but Buy Fresh, Buy Local is our main partner on this project. So huge shout out to Eastland and all the great work she's doing. All right, so the project that we're working on is basically to help rural farmers markets in any way that we can. There are 3 of us on our team. There's myself, Deb Soley, and Eastland. So we just wrapped up our first year working with 5 farmers markets. And the work that we do with the farmers markets includes monetary support as well as technical assistance, which means we'll show up. We'll show up and meet with you for a few hours. We'll show up at your market. We do our best to give constructive feedback. We have different ways that we've understood other markets have functioned in the past that might be a good fit for a market that may just be a little rudderless. So a few of the things that I can point out that we've done, again, the total that you receive as a market in this project is about $1,000 and $1,050. Kind of an odd amount, but that's just how it worked out. So some of the things that we really emphasize are trainings. So we do carry forward some of the trainings ourselves, but then we also want to offer the opportunity for market managers and vendors to attend trainings that they may be interested in, but may just not have the time or the money to put towards it. So some of the money is set aside to say, hey, here's some money. This can help pay for your mileage. This can help pay for registration, maybe even a hotel. We also offer stipends for vendors. Again, time is money. So vendors probably have more than one job, but they're also trying to make it to a farmer's market and grow veggies, produce, bake all the goods. So we also have money set aside for folks to attend trainings. Let's see. Nebraska doesn't really have a farmers market conference that I'm well aware of. There's the NSAS conference, which we presented at a few weeks ago, Eastland and myself, as well as a couple of farmers market managers that we've worked with in this first year. So we count that as a conference. We also provide funds. You probably need supplies in the way of signage, banners, boards, stickers, flyers. We do have a requirement in our grant where we're looking for foot traffic counts. Obviously, the season of farmers market wanes with the beginning to the end, and in the center, it's just complete chaos. So we do our best to get counts and just have a measure of a successful season. So that would be, hey, we have more people showing up, which is always a good thing. Okay. So we, for our markets, each market, all 5 of them, even if they're Nebraska or Iowa, we have 2 trainings that we have required each market to go through. And the first one is on SNAP and double up food bucks, which of course there are many changes to that. But we highly encourage markets to get on the SNAP program. It just opens up the market for many more customers that may have felt that the farmers market was out of reach when in fact there are resources available. So we do carry forward training with SNAP and double up food bucks when we can. We also have a training that we require all of our markets to go through, and we call it inclusivity training. This stems from communities that are, again, not near city centers. They may have a new population of folks that are not primarily English speakers showing up at their towns. So we tailor each training with folks on my team at the Center for Rural Affairs. We tailor the training to each town that we work in, and we, again, show up, carry forward the training for market managers and vendors. We also have the capacity to translate materials into Spanish, and that's something that we're going to do even more this coming year. And that's again with the help of a team member of Eastlands. So we have a thought to create a farmers market packet. So as a brand new vendor, or maybe one that's been established for a few years, there's a packet that will help you easily translate, will help you easily understand how your stall should look to be inviting to folks that may not know how to approach a vendor that they haven't seen before. So we're looking at it from the perspective of both a vendor, a manager, and also a customer. I'll show you a picture of the handbook so you can go online and download it. But for each market we work with, we hand over 2 copies of this handbook, and it's called the Nebraska Rural Farmers Market Handbook. We also have the Iowa version of this handbook, and that was done by the Iowa Valley RC&D. We like to write up a lot of things. If you follow us on Facebook or if you get our newsletter, you know that we have folks on our team that love to talk about all the cool work we do. And if you like getting mail, we even will mail you our newsletter. So our stories from the past year have been featured in the newsletter. We always post about markets as we work with them. And if you go back and dig through, you'll find articles on each of the 5 markets we've worked with in year 1. And I think I neglected to mention this is a total of a 3-year project. So we're just literally starting on year 2 right now, and then we'll have year 3. So every year we will have a write-up about each market and just talk about the different cool things that they're doing. We are also planning a networking event. So who doesn't like to network, right? And this is the time of networking. Not that farmers ever really have an off season, but we are going to try to have more consistent networking events that are in person and also virtual. And this is going to kick off with our year 2 group, where we will have a gather. We're calling it a gathering because it's hard to call it a conference. It's hard to call it a summit. We're just calling it a gathering and trying to keep it casual. So if you're selected as a market for year 2 and then again in year 3, we will have time and space for previous markets that have participated in our program, as well as the new ones that are just onboarding to the program, to be able to meet, go through at least one official training that we would carry forward that would pertain to everyone attending. Okay, this is the fun part. You get to see some pictures of our markets. So again, we choose 5 markets every year. Iowa was, I don't want to say they weren't initially considered, but the reason we looped them in is because we are doing work in Southwest Iowa in local foods access. This is a separate project, but we recognized pretty quickly that there were farmers markets in Southwest Iowa that really needed our help. And we said, let's jump in and help them. We've got 3 years of this project. It felt like a long time and a lot of markets. And now that we're hitting year 2, it doesn't feel that way, but that's just how it goes. So first of all, we have Schuyler and Kearney were the 2 markets that were in Nebraska that were selected for year 1. I worked with Schuyler. Deb, who is in the picture on the right, standing to the left in the striped shirt. Deb Solie is my team member, and she worked in Kearney. And then down below is a picture from the Kearney Farmers Market. The markets we worked with in Iowa. So we worked in Red Oak, Shenandoah, and the Missouri Valley Welcome Center Farmers Market. So if you've ever driven towards Logan is where I usually go, and then I pass the Missouri Valley Welcome Center. I didn't even know they had a farmer's market. I just bypassed the billboard that stands there telling everybody there's a farmer's market. So it's kind of cool when we learned that we got to work with them. And the other cool one I wanted to point out, and I could have found the article for you guys, but if you go onto our website, which is cfra.org, type in Shenandoah, Iowa, and there's a really great article about the mill is the name of the building that this woman named Margaret Brady has this building. She renovated it and is basically making it a space for folks in Iowa to vend from, and also will possibly have some space for folks to use as a commercial kitchen. So talking about local food access for farmers, food producers, all of the above, she's kind of doing it all out of one building. So that's a really interesting story. And that's the one in Shenandoah. And the pictures on the left is Tyler. He is with Sown Local. He grows fresh veggies and salad greens and works with schools in his area. So that's a great story. And then Shad on the right, he is another farmer that we work with extensively. And they are both just doing so much in local food access with their schools, with their communities, and they still find time to show up at their markets. Okay, so if you want to, here's a QR code. This takes you to our farmers market page on the CFRA website. There's a few paragraphs of talking, and then there are links below. And the top link is actually the farmers market handbook, which let me show you a picture of it, and I'll come right back to this QR code so you can snap a pic if you want. So this is what the cover of our handbook looks like. And that's a picture of the old market, farmers market, which I used to work at. But again, here's our QR code. You can turn your camera on, click on the little link, and definitely explore our website. I feel as though even though our program is specific for rural markets, we have so many resources. And again, I feel like they definitely cross paths with markets that are in bigger cities and towns. If you have any questions, if you feel like you want to ask anything, or if you know of anybody in the rural parts of the state that you might be friends with, family with, and they might need help or links or whatever, take down my email, check out our website, and thank you for letting me share a bit of our story.
Great, thank you. Great presentation. Does anybody have any questions for Angelin? I do not seeing or hearing anything, but if you do, her contact's up on the slide. And so with that, thank you so much, Angelin. And thank you.
You bet.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll little bit ahead of schedule. We're about 15 minutes ahead of schedule, but that's never a bad thing. But the next scheduled speaker is Andrew Montaigne with the Nebraska Department of Agriculture. Andrew, are you on the call? I tried reaching out to Andrew yesterday and to remind him, but if not, he's scheduled for 10:45, so maybe he'll pop on a little bit later. But what we'll do is move on forward with Hannah, and Hannah is with the Double Up Food Bucks for Farmers Markets, and I saw Hannah was on the call, so I see her waving. So take it away, Hannah. Oh, you sent me slides, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I will get those pulled up here.
Thank you. While you're doing that, I just have a couple things I'm going to paste into the chat here. Let's see. Oops. Okay. So just a few items that I went ahead and typed into the chat. The first one is just the Nebraska Double Up Food Bucks website. I'm with Lancaster County Extension, and I serve as the Double Up Food Bucks contact or liaison for Lancaster Farmers Markets. And then there is a link for the 2025 Double Up Vendor Agreement Form. That is a required form that needs to be filled out if you are going to be a double up vendor at any farmer's market. I would recommend filling that out now. If you want to, you're more than welcome to do that, just because sometimes that's something that can slip through the cracks. It's just easy to let it slide. And then the other thing, just my contact information in case questions come up. All right. You can go ahead and go to the next slide if you would. Wonderful. So there's a lot of words on this slide. Obviously, I won't read everything verbatim, but just to answer the overall question of what is double up, just in case there might be some vendors that are new to the program, or just to serve as a reminder, double up is a SNAP incentive program. So basically, this is just helping Nebraska families have access to more fresh fruits and vegetables. And then it also helps to support local farmers, which is awesome. Anyone who receives SNAP benefits, they are automatically eligible for double up when they shop at participating locations, and then when they buy eligible food items with their SNAP benefits or their EBT card. The best way to explain double up, it's basically just like a match dollar program. So for every $2 spent on fresh produce with an EBT card or SNAP benefits, then they earn $2 towards fresh produce, up to $20 per day. And then just some goals of the program. The first is that this is just going to help Nebraska families. It brings a lot more healthy food items into the home, which is fantastic. This program addresses nutrition insecurity. It helps to reduce those financial barriers of accessing fresh produce if that's something that families might be struggling with. The second is that double up positively impacts and supports local agriculture, which is awesome, and farmers. So this helps to increase sales, number of customers, and also farm profits. And the third goal of double up, this helps to strengthen Nebraska communities by keeping food dollars in our local economy. Right on. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Awesome. So just a general overview of what a market attendee can expect when they visit a farmer's market. 4 different steps. The first one is that an individual who's looking to use the double up program, the first thing would be to visit the market manager booth to get started. This is where customers can purchase tokens and swipe their EBT card so that they are for sure utilizing their SNAP benefits, but then in conjunction with that, also getting double up as well. The second is that when tokens are purchased, those spend just like cash. So an individual can use their EBT card to purchase tokens as well as to get those double up benefits, but a regular debit or credit card can also be used. And just a heads up, the new color for the 2025 checks is that pretty purple color. So they were green for 2024, so purple this year, just to keep an eye out for that. There shouldn't be any other green expired checks circulating around, but if you do see that, just know that the new color is purple. The third step for this program implementation, market attendees won't know which vendors can accept double up unless you have, it's pictured on this slide, it's that green accepted here sign. That's the only way they're going to know if you as a vendor honor the double up program. So this also is just another requirement of double up. If you are a double up vendor, please have that hung up and visible so that individuals at the market can easily identify you. And the fourth one is simply everyone's favorite, is just to spend, which is awesome. All right, next slide. Awesome, thanks. So this slide will just give a general rundown of the different payment options that are accepted at the markets. I'll kind of go into a little more detail of those with the next slide. So you can expect that credit, credit and debit cards can be purchased or swiped to purchase the $5 tokens, and then SNAP and EBT can also be utilized to get double up food bucks checks. Those are automatically handed out, at the markets only by the market manager. So vendors aren't able to hand checks out. And then also there are two different kinds of tokens. You can expect to see the regular $5 tokens. So that would be something that a customer would get from the market manager if they use, excuse me, my voice is going. That would be the $5 tokens. If someone just uses a debit or credit card, the SNAP and EBT tokens, that's what an individual can get along with Double Up. So those two things, the black tokens and then the purple checks, is what someone would get if they're trying to use Double Up. If a customer tries to use their EBT card with you, so you as a vendor just to be on the lookout for this, even if you are a SNAP retailer, please direct them to the market manager booth so that they can not only get their SNAP tokens, but also Double Up. Since individual vendors aren't able to pass out Double Up checks, we just don't want an individual to miss out on those benefits. Okay, next slide. So just a few different booth items that one is required. It's the green accepted here sign, which I already talked about, just to have that hung up so customers can see that you do honor Double Up. And then the other two booth items are not required. They're just recommended. They can be helpful tools during the market season. So the sign that says we accept at the top. So number 2, this is just a helpful reference guide for determining eligible items or food items, depending on the form of payment that's being used at a market. There can be lots of moving parts at the farmers markets, and then rhythm, like you get in a rhythm and things get going, and sometimes there can be confusion, which is totally understandable. So this can just be a quick reference guide if you're unsure, if someone's trying to purchase maybe like a baked good or something like that. Double Up cannot be used for that because Double Up is simply just focusing on the access of fresh fruits and vegetables. And then the other item, again, this one is not required, but it's just another helpful reference guide, just in case there might be language barriers. At Extension, we created this to just be inclusive of all languages. This will kind of help to facilitate communication of cost to a customer. It is laminated, so you could use a dry erase marker to write the number and a dollar amount, or you could put the number of checks or tokens that are needed to purchase certain items. Awesome. Okay, next slide. Wonderful. So this slide is just a breakdown of, again, kind of going back to just a different form of payments because there's a number, just a variety of ways that individuals can pay for things at the market. So both Double Up checks, so the purple, those are just our regular Double Up checks. The ones in green, I am not for sure what color those might be. I believe Casey Foster might be on this call, and that is probably a better resource or someone that can answer those questions. But both Double Up checks, so the senior farmers market checks, the purple checks, and then the SNAP tokens, change cannot be given for those forms of payment, just to keep that in mind. Otherwise, the regular tokens that can be purchased with the credit and debit card, those spend just like cash. So change can be given for those. But you want to make sure that you just touch base with your market manager to find out how they want to go about reimbursement for those types of things. I'm not sure. Typically, it could be like a monthly basis or that type of thing. I do want to just bring to everybody's attention, I do have an update on funding for Double Up since it is a federally funded program. And this might impact how farmers market managers want to go about reimbursement and things like that. So since the beginning of Double Up, this program has been made possible in large part through federal grant funds that have been awarded to UNO and its nonprofit partners to run the program. So it's incentivizing SNAP participants to shop local and purchase fresh fruits and vegetables, which is fantastic. However, with recent transitions in the government, there is uncertainty at the federal level surrounding grant funding. So we're all trying to navigate this for the first time together. At this point in time, UNO Extension does not have an opportunity to apply for further federal support for Double Up. So this means that federal funds, with the federal funds that we still have for the program, we feel confident that we will be able to continue.
I know, but you're gonna get more.
We will be able to continue double up at participating Lancaster farmers markets through August of 2025 for this market season, or I guess through 2025. But we cannot guarantee the promise of any available funds in 2026. For those vendors that do participate in double up, I would advise that you deposit your double up or those double up checks that you receive at the markets on a regular basis throughout the market season rather than waiting until later in the year. For example, depositing everything in December, I would not advise that just because we can't guarantee if funds will be available at that point. So trying to do it sooner rather than later would be advisable for that. But I do just want to take a moment to recognize the vital role that all of you as vendors play in this program. Your participation, seriously, is what makes it possible for families to access fresh fruits and vegetables, local food. And without you, simply this program would just not have the same impact for Nebraska families. So your dedication, your hard work, it's all been incredibly instrumental in making this resource available to the community. So just want to give you a big, huge shout out and thank you for that. At this point in time, that's all the knowledge I have on federal funding, just with information that's coming down the pipeline and things like that. We're all kind of navigating this for the first time together. So we just appreciate your understanding and flexibility on that. We'll make sure to be as transparent as possible moving forward with the market season and just how federal funding might be playing out. Awesome. Okay, next slide, please. And then just want to transition back to the vendor agreement form. I did paste the link in the chat right before my presentation. I'm happy to paste that again if that's helpful. This is a requirement, so before your season starts for whatever market or markets you plan to attend, please have this completed. Otherwise, you might be receiving a few email reminders from me, just bugging you a little bit to fill it out. I do want to note that Columbus and Seward markets are not included on this vendor agreement form. I'm not the direct contact for those markets. I believe Thais with UNL Extension, she's typically the one that's running point on those. As far as I know, there's just some sort of change with those two markets related to double up. So as far as I know, double up's not going to be offered at those markets. But again, if you have questions, I'm happy to get you in contact with Thais or Tara Dunker. She's kind of our main double up guru at this point in time. So I can definitely get more information on that. And then these three images on this slide just give a quick little glimpse into what you can expect when you're filling out the vendor agreement form. Please make sure that you select any and all markets that you plan to attend, even if you don't plan on attending all of them or scheduling conflicts or something like that. This just covers your basis instead of having to fill the form out more than once. For example, if you plan to be a vendor at the Sunday Farmers Market here in Lincoln and then the Hub Market or something like that, I would select both of those just to cover your bases. There is another question that will ask you to select your primary market. So that technically is kind of just going to be your home base. So whichever market you envision selling the most produce or the market that you plan to attend the most often, I would just select that one to be your primary market for the 2025 season. Awesome. Okay, next slide. I think that might be it. Yep. And then any questions, I'm happy to do my best to answer them now. Otherwise, that's my email or our main office line for UNL Extension. So you're more than welcome to reach out at any point with questions or to your market managers too. They're very knowledgeable and do a great job. So
some questions did come up in the chat.
Yeah.
Question, where can we get the updated accepted here signs for our vendors?
Absolutely. Market managers sometimes have an extra stash. If that's not the case, I'm happy to get some. You can either reach out to your market manager and have them contact me, or you can just contact me directly and we can get you set up with that for sure.
Is that the same with the second chart with what can be bought with tokens?
Yes, yeah, we house all of those at Extension. So if there, for whatever reason, a market manager maybe doesn't have extra copies, just let me know. Either you as the vendor or the market manager can reach out and we'll get you set up and squared away. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Does double up work for herb/veggie plants?
As far as I know, obviously just the fresh fruits and vegetables and then just fresh herbs. I would have to get confirmation on anything else. I think the plants or whatever the other thing was, but for sure
Herbs.
that little cheat sheet, I would just follow that directly, but I'm happy to get confirmation if there's clarification
Okay.
is.
All right, another question. I don't believe customer signatures are required now on senior coupons.
Okay, that's good to know. I don't do a whole lot with the senior coupons, mainly just the regular double up. I'm probably gonna connect you. Probably Casey Foster probably would know a little bit more on that than I do, so that probably would be a good person to reach out to.
Yeah, maybe when Casey's on, he can address that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Another question. Will you let market managers know when funding is low or gone?
That is an excellent question. Yes, we'll do our best. We're kind of just taking it day by day, just with the information that we're getting. At this point, our head double up person, Tara Dunker, she's confident that we will be getting through basically the whole season, so through 2025. But as more information comes, we can definitely keep everybody updated because I know that'll kind of be a pretty big transition for things. So yeah.
Okay. Are there any last minute questions for Hannah? Great job.
If any other questions come up, please don't hesitate to reach out. Happy to help. That's why we're here. So appreciate all of you guys tremendously.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you, Hannah.
Okay. Another call for Andrew with Nebraska Weights and Measures. And anybody? I'm not seeing him in our participant list. So I guess we will move on then and speaking of Casey, Casey is the next speaker to talk about the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program updates. So I see Casey's up and ready, and take it away.
Thanks, Justin, and good morning, everyone. It seems like summer's a long ways away, but with last week, it seemed like a long ways away, but then last couple of days, it seems like summer is just around the corner, so you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. But as most of you know, I run the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program for the Nebraska Department of Agriculture. To answer Buzz's question that came up before I forget, senior signatures are no longer required on senior coupons out there. And I'm going to share my screen here to show you what the coupons will look like here in just a minute. If I can pull that up, you'll hopefully can you see that, Justin?
Yeah, you're good, Casey.
Okay. All right. So this year our senior coupons will be blue in color. They look like just like they have in the past. There is a new wrinkle we've added in the last couple of years. You'll notice that there is a QR code in the lower right-hand corner. So if you decide you would like to deposit your coupons with your smart device by scanning the QR code, you can do that. There is a bank we work with in Missouri now that processes our coupons You'll be getting an email about that. You can log in through their app called Homegrown Benefits. I'll cover that in a minute. And instead of taking these coupons to the bank, or you don't even have to stamp in your number if you scan them with a QR code. However, if you still like to go to your banker, you will need to either stamp right in your 4-digit number in here, in that white box. But if you decide to use a QR code, I would encourage all of you to start doing that, because I can tell you that within a year or two, all of it will be mobile. Our paper coupons will be going away at some point. So the more you can get used to the QR code, the better. I will tell you that the deposit using the QR code is very seamless, quick, and easy out there. But if you decide to still go to your bank, coupons can be accepted starting June 1st, and you can accept them up until Halloween. You have up until the end of November to deposit any and all paper coupons out there. So this year, coupons are blue in color. The material that I send out to all the certified farmers will do that. Remember that only those who sell produce are able to accept these coupons. This site here is called Homegrown Benefits. It's an app on the smart device you need to download. You can go to the iPhone store, Google Play Store to download it free of charge. If you decide to scan your QR code on the coupon, it will show up on this app. It will show you your vendor summary, your issuance period. You have a number of different things to look through. It shows you how much money you've actually received and redeemed. Again, we encourage everyone to sign up for Homegrown Benefits. It's your email along with your own password that you create. I will be sending out an email about that in our trainings that we do. This spring, I will be covering in great detail how to get signed up. I will also send out that training to everybody who's in our program with a video that shows you exactly how to log on, how to use it, and how to make use of it. Again, you can still use physical checks by going to your bank, but I encourage all of you to sign up for Homegrown Benefits. It's free of charge, and it should make deposit of coupons much easier, seamless, quicker for everybody. I will tell you, with our senior coupon trainings, when you're trained for the senior program, we also certify you for double up food bucks. So you're able to accept coupons from both programs out there that Hannah talked about. Also, a new wrinkle I'm not happy about, but was forced to conform with, is our Nebraska Farmers Market online database has changed what it looks like. The old system we were using is no longer supported. It's an old platform. As much as I liked it, I was forced to change it. So starting March 4th is the launch of this new Farmers Market online database. It should function just like the same, as a completely different look. So for all of you who are in our program, will need a login code. Your login now will be your email address, and you'll create your own password. Please note that the old password you had with 3 capital letters, 3 lowercase letters, and a numerical number are now obsolete and are no longer useful. You'll still need your vendor number at some point, but you can access it on your profile. So to log in, I'll be sending out, the link is still the same. It's still the ne.gov/go/produce vendor. That will redirect you to this site you're seeing on your screen now. You type in your username, type in your password that you create, you click sign on. And this one timed me out, so give me just a second here. So as you see, it looks very different than our old system, but for those of you who need to be recertified or certified, you'll be taking this screen. You'll need to answer all of these questions. This information will be updated here. These boxes are checked green because I've already done it, but you'll need to check you're a United States citizen, and you'll also agree to the terms and conditions of the program. And then you also need to attend a training session. We have 2 in March, 1 in April, and 1 in May. The new site, when this launches on the 4th, will have the training sessions up there that you'll need to pre-register to attend. You click on view profile, and this profile has not been set up, but Um, I don't think. We'll see where it takes. This is what you're, it's going to kick me back to the screen because I've got page sign up for it. But you can type in your vendor location just like as you have in the past, what markets you actually sell at, and the training itself will be listed here as well. This lists January 1st, which is incorrect, but we just use that as an example of what it looks like. So keep in mind that in the information I send out to everybody, including those who need to be recertified or certified this year, please note that the direct link will be the same, but it'll have a completely different look, which I'm not all that excited about, but they didn't ask me, so that's life, I guess. You see if there was anything else of magnitude to talk about. I think those are the three main things I wanted to cover. I don't have a slideshow today. Just watch for information from me in the mail and through emails, and also send out postcards about the training as well. It seems to get pretty good attention out there. So I guess at this point, I'll open it up to any questions anybody may have.
Casey, there's a question in the chat about our trainings recorded. We have farmers in our program who want to be able to accept.
Yep, great question. Yes, they are recorded. And if you want a recording of it, simply send me an email. I'll put my email in the chat out there. If you, we only require one person per operation to receive the training, but we encourage everybody to tell their staff about how to accept coupons for the program out there. I'll also tell you that if there's anybody who sells produce for the first time, would like to be enrolled in the program, which is free of charge, please send me an email. Make sure that you receive information that if you've been in the program in the past, I already have your information. I know who you are, where you live. I'm the government, and I'll be sure to reach out to you. I'll include details about how to sign up.
Okay. Let's see. Another question. Oh, that's just your contact. Okay.
Right.
Yep. I saw something pop up. It's just your contact. So yeah, questions on those items. I know I've reached out to Casey a time or two, and always willing to answer my questions. So.
Well, I always like to tell a story. So this is off the beaten path, but it might bring a smile to some of your face. My wife and I have been married for 21, almost 22 years, and last year I ordered a bouquet of flowers for her. And I asked the florist to put a note with it that says, "Thanks for putting up with me for so long." Later that day, she called me and said, "Where are you going?" I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Well, I got a bouquet of flowers from you that's with a note that says, 'Thanks for putting up with me so long.'"
Very nice. Very nice. Right.
Love that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that, we have next after Casey, we have Eastland Wright with UNL Extension. And Eastland will talk about the local buy fresh, buy local in Nebraska. So Eastland, I saw you on the call. And
yeah, good morning. I'm gonna share my screen here if that's all right.
Go for it.
All right. Are you seeing that presentation?
Yes, yeah, we see it.
Okay, awesome. So, as Justin mentioned, I am Eastland Wright. I am the program coordinator for Buy Fresh, Buy Local Nebraska. Buy Fresh, Buy Local Nebraska is dedicated to these four things as a priority, which is keeping the food chain shorter, transparent, and sustainable, educating on social, environmental, and economic impacts of eating locally, improving wellness and quality of life through promoting healthy in-season eating, and cultivating a future for Nebraska's family farms by expanding the market for locally produced foods. So, farmers markets really easily fit into these priorities. I also just want to thank Angeline for presenting a little bit about the program that I share with Center for Rural Affairs, the Farmers Market Promotion Program. Just a little overview that Buy Fresh, Buy Local Nebraska is part of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. It's housed within the Agricultural Economics College and is part of the Nebraska Cooperative Development Center. So it fits into those two organizations by providing resources and opportunities for collaboration, increasing the quality of life, specifically in rural Nebraska, although we work throughout the state, and by addressing economic and health outcomes through providing food options. The main thing that people are connected to through Buy Fresh, Buy Local is our local food guide. This is a picture of our 2024 rather, local food guide, printed food guide. These are available in multiple locations. I have lots of copies available if people are interested. My contact information will be on the last slide. Please let me know. At this time, we are anticipating doing some form of a printed guide or supplement for 2025, but we are still developing exactly what that will look like. So I know in the past, we have sent out surveys to members and posted a new link on our website for being part of the 2025 food guide, but we haven't quite gotten there yet. So updates will be coming, but just if you're interested and haven't been part of the guide in the past, please contact me and we'll get you in the loop to make sure that those updates are provided to you. UNL also hosts an online food guide. So there are two different membership options for being a member of Buy Fresh, Buy Local, either in the printed guide and online or just online. And there is a difference in cost for those memberships. But just wanted to put that out there. It's also a great way to find vendors if you're looking for a specific product or how they sell that product. There's a bunch of different search parameters. And people also have found value in being part of the online food guide because it's like one of the top search results. If you were to Google a producer's name, because it is tied to UNL, it comes up pretty readily. I also just wanted to highlight some of the programs that Buy Fresh, Buy Local is working on besides the local food guide. So we do partner with Nebraska Nutrition Education Program to provide SNAP and Double Up Food Bucks education. I'm working closely with Tara Dunker and will be the contact person for farmers markets outside of Lancaster County. Lancaster County is lucky to have Hannah, who presented earlier, being their primary person to work with the farmers markets, but doing some of that work throughout the rest of the state. I wanted to highlight that UNL does have an event called Discovery Days and Farmers Market. They are interested in having additional producers at these markets. So if you are a vendor at the farmers market, this application is now open. It is free of charge and it occurs to have a booth. It occurs 3 times a year, Saturday, June 14th, Saturday, July 12th and Saturday, August 9th, all of those being from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and occur on East Campus in the East Campus Loop. There are a variety of booths. There are a handful of producers that are already involved. The different colleges at UNL and nonprofits have educational booths, but it's just a fun, family-friendly event. And they, in particular, are looking for local producers. So if you're interested in that, I will put the link to that application in the chat when I'm done presenting, and also the contact information for the manager for Discovery Days. But that is something that Buy Fresh, Buy Local has participated in the past. There's really great attendance and is just a kind of a unique opportunity. Buy Fresh, Buy Local is also participating in local food showcases. Last year, that was hosted at the Grand Island Farmers Market and the Beatrice Farmers Market. It will continue for 2 more years at those locations and then also at Wildflower Market. And that is through a specialty crop block grant through Nebraska Department of Agriculture. As Angeline mentioned earlier, Buy Fresh, Buy Local is part of the Farmers Market Promotion Program for helping rural farmers markets. So as Angeline mentioned, that's specifically working in rural areas, and we just closed our application for our 5 new markets, and I'm really excited to continue that work. And then Buy Fresh, Buy Local is also partnering with Center for Rural Affairs on doing a grocery and a producer cohort in rural areas. So helping support producers who are interested in scaling up from the farmers market to a wholesale option, and particularly working in like small rural markets that oftentimes have a difficult time getting produce or getting local items in. And so that's something that's exciting. I am also working with Nebraska Farm to School, and just wanted to highlight their program. They just developed a new network. And so if you are at all interested in what Nebraska Farm to School is doing, I would encourage you to visit their website and sign up for their newsletter for their new network. And I think that's all that I have to share with you today. My email address is here. It's buylocalnebraska@unl.edu. Buylocalnebraska.org is our website. As I mentioned, will send a link in the chat for the Discovery Days information if people are interested in having a booth at Discovery Days.
All right. Well, thank you, Eastland. Any questions for Eastland? I don't see any new ones coming up in the chat, but so thank you. And but I did see a question from Margaret about weights and measures, and I did try calling Andrew, and I couldn't get through to him. So, but what I will do next week, early next week, I'll continue to try to reach out and give the information. I know the question is if there's a day Weights and Measures opens up their labs so scales can be certified. So the best I can do is reach out to them and see if he's got information for when the scales can be certified through Weights and Measures. And I will then share that out to the market managers So then they can share it out to their vendors, and that's what I can do at this point. So I apologize for that. Some things come up, unfortunately. So, but we got a little bit of time for last minute questions. If anybody has any, feel free to put them in the chat or speak up. Otherwise, that will conclude the 2025 Farmers Market Vendor Informational Workshop. And I thank you so much, everybody, for taking time out of your Saturday morning to learn about great information, especially the changes that have been made over the last year and how they'll affect all of us while we're out. Whether you're a vendor at a farmer's market or whether you're on our end on the regulatory side, just so everybody's on the same page, so we can communicate everything. And as I said many times before, have a successful and safe farmers market season. So with that, thank you so much, everybody. And I'll be wrapping it up here. I'll leave a few more minutes if people want to put things in the chat. And
Is CD still on there with the coffee?
is CD still on? He had the coffee question? Probably not. Okay.
No, he is not.
Okay. A lot of thank yous coming in. My pleasure. I'm glad to put this on.
I just wanted to follow up on this question, which is for Casey. We have growers in our program that need Arabic interpretation. Can NDA provide like interpretive services at any of the SFMMP like coupon trainings?
We do not have any interpreters. However, if you know of people that could interpret for us, that would be great. But unfortunately, we have no interpretation services.
Yeah, we have someone on staff that can help them. It's just that like we might need to communicate with you a little bit about how to make that happen live because those trainings are quite dense.
Reach out to me afterwards. Call me this week and we can talk about it.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll give you a call.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Amy.
Thanks.